HBCU student and Firehouse apprentice Austin Smith. They'll be talking about Harvey's experiences with his book, The Windshield Poems, that Firehouse is going to be presenting as a workshop reading in mid-November for a very limited run of 7 performances. You can get more info and sign up for the live or stream performances at our website, firehousetheater.org. So here are a couple of announcements. Thank you, Emily. I forgot to mute it. Today's conversation is going to be about 30 minutes long, and then we'll do a little Q&A session after that. So streamers, if you have any questions that you have for Harvey, you can type them in the comments section, and I'll read them in the mic here so that everybody that's streaming can hear the questions. For those of you that are live, just raise your hand, ask your question, and I will repeat it into the microphone so our streaming audience can hear it. Let's see. Please turn off your cell phones for those of you that are here live. And please keep your masks on while at Firehouse. And finally, because I have to keep the lights on, if you'd like to make a donation, you can do so at tinyurl.com at Firehouse WIP. So that's all for me. I'll come back when we get to the Q&A section. So thanks a lot for joining us. And take it away, Austin.
All right. So for context, I just want to read the preface of the book to sort of give you an idea of what this story is about. It was 1974. I was teaching art at the University of Richmond. For 3 years, I would come out after class to my 1956 Chevy pickup and see a piece of paper under the wiper. To my surprise, they were poems from a young man who felt deeply about me. My secret admirer wrote 18 poems in all. I call them the Windshield Poems. I am now 86 years old. I've kept these poems and read them often over the years. Many times I've wondered about this man. Who is he? Where is he? Did he ever find love? I hope so. Everyone, no matter who they are, deserves the gift of love. I hope you are touched by the poems I've collected here. I hope you share them with the ones you love. And to my secret admirer from afar, thank you. Your words touched me more than my words could ever express. From Harvey McWilliams. So, for my first question, how was it growing up? You said North Carolina, right? You were raised in North Carolina?
Correct.
How was it growing up gay? Like feeling different from everyone else?
Well, I knew I was different because I grew up in a small town of about 600 people, which means most everybody knew everybody, or they knew stuff before you even did it. But I was an unusual child, I guess, because I was very creative, and I taught myself how to tap dance. I tap danced on the stage in the minstrel shows in elementary school. I had flower gardens. I did art for the newspaper for the school. I just felt that I was not like the rest of the boys in town. I was a little different. But nothing was ever said about it, actually, because I don't think they knew what the word gay was back then.
Yeah.
Usually when a young man is not doing what the normal guys are doing, they're usually called, at that period, basically the word was sissy.
Mm-hmm.
And I had been called that, I think, once or twice, but
nothing too major.
Otherwise I had no problem growing up. I was just
doing
small
your thing.
town, they don't really care, actually.
Nice. So when did you sort of come into this identity? When did you, I guess, come out?
Well, once I graduated from high school, I went to East Carolina, and I majored in art, of course. And I was there 2 years, and I joined the Army. I was in the Army Intelligence Agency.
Okay.
And I went to Germany, and I was there 2 years. I came back, and then I went to RPI, which was, before VCU, and majored in interior design, which I have a degree in. And when I was a freshman there in the dorm, that's when it all came about, because all of these people in the dorm were gay, and they were all sleeping in each other's room at night, and it was just wild. But I had never seen anything like it, but that's when it happened. And I was about probably 22 or 23 years of age.
Yeah. That's
So-
when you sort of, it all clicked together for you.
Yeah,
You were
but I
like,
went through the whole Army thing and never, ever did anything or knew anything.
yeah.
So,
Okay. So once you graduated from VCU, you sort of, was that when you took your job at University of Richmond, or?
no, I had many jobs. Once I graduated, actually from RPI, I went to Washington,
Okay.
and I worked in the interior design field there, a place called Modern Design,
Okay.
for 2 years. And I really didn't like DC, and I wasn't really into the gay scene. So I came back to Richmond, and I had all sorts of jobs. Worked for Miller and Rhodes Contract Sales with the interior design firm, and I designed St. Mary's Hospital,
Wow.
and a lot of commercial things. I didn't like residential design because my goal was to do commercial work, more office buildings and things like that. So
Yeah.
then I went back to VCU and got my master's in printmaking, which they created for me because they never had anybody with masters in printmaking. So anyway, I'm still doing prints. I'm working right now in the studio.
Nice. That's
So-
really exciting.
Yeah. So I've done a lot of different things, but at my age, I mean, you're going to do a lot of things by the time you're 87 years old.
That's true. So when you were at University of Richmond teaching, what was your reaction when you first received a poem?
Well, I came out one day from class. I think it was my drawing class, and I was driving that vintage pickup truck, and I looked on the windshield, and there was this piece of paper, and I pulled it off the windshield, and I opened it up and read it, and there was this poem, and I was just flabbergasted. I mean, it was so beautifully written. And I said, well, who is this person? I knew it was probably a student, because, and an English major, I would think, but I had never found out. But my reaction was, wow, somebody that really cares enough to write these beautiful poems. I was taken back, yeah.
Yeah. And so so you mentioned that, it was probably a student and probably an English major at that. Was there anything else, throughout the rest of the poems that sort of hinted at maybe who this person was?
No.
Not at
The
all.
only thing that one of the poems had mentioned Hanover, so I think this person probably lived in Hanover County,
Mm-hmm.
but I still had no idea who it was. I could, fantasize about it, but I had no idea.
Yeah.
I still don't.
Dang. So, you had all these poems. Was there any reason why you saved them, especially for, since then till now?
Well, I kept them and I put them in a file and put them in my filing cabinet.
Mm-hmm.
And I would pull them out once in a while and read a couple of them. And recently, before the book came about, I pulled the poems out and I was looking at them and I was thinking, well, you know, they're so beautifully written. I think they're exquisite. So I thought that other people should be able to read them and experience them also. So that's how that all came about.
Yeah.
I just kept them for 47 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you just sort of read back on them, just
Yeah.
enjoyed them?
Yeah.
Nice. That's really nice. So I guess, you know, you mentioned that the idea of the book came about from wanting to let other people, you know, sort of experience them like you did. So was there any particular reason why, you know, where, I guess the better question is, where did the idea for making that book of poems into a stage play come about?
Well, the book, first I came up with the title, because it was a pretty obvious title, the Windshield Poems, you know. And then I talked to my friend, Sarah Rowland, who's a graphic designer and wallpaper designer, and the two of us collaborated on the book. Mm-hmm. And that's how the book came about. Then her husband, Joe Alexandra, decided, well, let's turn it into a play. So he started getting that all together. Mm-hmm. And that's how it developed. If it hadn't been for him, I don't know if it would have ever happened, actually.
Yeah.
So I give a lot of credit to them. Yeah. And I think we're going to turn it into a movie eventually.
Ooh, that'll be pretty exciting.
Yeah.
How did it end up at Firehouse?
What?
How did it end up at Firehouse? You know, so he put on this production.
I guess because I had been at the Firehouse, I was on the board here for 10 years. And
okay.
I do all the catering on opening nights. Mm-hmm. Because I was in the food business for 16 and a half years. I was a chef.
Ooh. And
I'm just connected to the Firehouse. I'm connected to Joel and his wife. And I've just always been part of the Firehouse for that length of time, and it just makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, I have my birthday parties here. I got married here. So
this has, you know, been, you know, almost like a home to you.
Yeah.
So I like that.
So the
I like
Firehouse is, I love the Firehouse.
Yeah. So I think it's good that, you know, we're able to do this and put these on for you and for the rest of our audience. I think that's really good.
Exactly.
So speaking of, you know, getting it out to an audience, what would you like audience members to sort of take away from this production?
Well, I would like for them to feel the sadness that this person had in the search for love. Mm-hmm. This person wanted to be loved, and he didn't know how to quite accomplish that. And I think he was trying to accomplish through his poetry. And I just feel like he was a very lonely person and was starving for affection. And I want the audience to realize that, and that how exquisite the poems are, that it's beautifully written.
Yeah. And that's really good. So I guess now we're going to have Joel come back and sort of get any questions from our live audience and from our live stream audience. Sorry to throw you on the spot like that.
Yes, thank you, Austin. Hey, let me ask you something, Austin.
Yes, sir.
Did you read the poems?
I did, yes.
What was your response to them?
I was a little surprised, actually, by them. Because some of them, a lot of them are very sweet, but they're very pained. And then there are a few of them that are a little, more explicit about what they're trying to convey. And I was kind of surprised that, this complete stranger would feel so strongly about another complete stranger. You know what I mean? And I don't know. It just made me wonder, what brought him to do that, So I think that was one of my biggest reactions to that, was just, I guess more curiosity.
Have you ever had one of those experiences? I mean, I can think of a few that I've had of just, unrequited love, like being infatuated or in love with somebody from afar. And, part of the romance of it is that you don't ever act on it or meet the person. That it's your fantasy relationship. And so it's always beautiful, or, you're in control of it in a certain way. So yeah. Do you want to say anything about that?
Yes. Without getting too personal, there has been at least one person that I have been, it's more been on my end that the other person didn't know. I don't really have any sort of experience with someone else feeling that way about me. But, it was nice. It's a very nice fantasy, but, at the same time, it kind of hurts that, you can't be with this person. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think there was a line, maybe Grace will remember, from the picture of Dorian Gray. Henry says something like, "Oh, it's much better to be adored than to adore." Yeah.
That sounds right.
Yes.
Definitely.
So remember, those of you that are streaming, if you have any questions, just go ahead and type them in. I'll read them aloud. Do any of you in our live audience have any questions for Harvey? Yeah?
I guess, what was VCU like when you went there? Because,
You have to translate.
but, what was it like? How different is it now?
Yeah, that's a great question. Ariana wants to know, what was VCU like when you were going there? And how do you have a sense of how different it is now? And if so, what's different about it?
Well, we're going to talk about VCU or RPI.
Okay, so was VCU RPI before it was VCU?
She's asking, was VCU RPI before it was VCU?
Okay, RPI was entirely different. It wasn't very large, so everybody sort of knew everybody, especially in the art field and painting, printmaking, design, drama. We all, we were all together, and everybody. It was very bohemian back then, and it was just very small and very intimate, which VCU is large now, and you don't get that, I don't think. So it is a big difference. And when I went there and the way it is now. I don't know what else to say about it.
That's great. I got a question here from Billy Christopher Maupin, who may be able to remind us what that line in Dorian Gray was about being adored or adored. But he wants to know, and Harvey, this is going to be a tough one for you because I think you've only been to one rehearsal, but Billy Christopher wants to know, this is really more a question for Todd probably, what is the process like of adapting the book of poems into a play?
Well, that's a hard one for me, because I'm not the one that really did it, transformed it.
Todd, are you able to come down, or you want me to pass the mic up to you? Here comes Todd. Todd is the director, and one of the adapters with Joe Alexander and Sarah Rowland.
So part of the process of, turning the poetry into a play was that, we took the approach of trying to conceptually recreate the experience, both finding the poetry at the truck as well as Harvey's experience of putting the book together. So with that choice, since the two individuals never actually met each other or encountered each other, we don't have any traditional dialogue within the performance, but rather focused in on creating the moments based around the poetry and the poetry itself, sort of letting the words do the work for us. So though there are definitely scenes and moments that are put on, we focus more on the idea of just doing the poetry in the moment. I guess that would be the best way to describe that.
Thank you, Todd. Billy Christopher has a follow-up for Harvey. How does it feel to be able to revisit these poems and to see them even more greatly realized in the form of a play?
It's very emotional. When I came to the rehearsal, I cried through the whole thing. It's very moving.
Yeah.
That's all I can say.
It's a very interesting question because the poems in the published book form are very emotional too. And when you read them to yourself or aloud in the privacy of your house or late at night, you're sort of imagining what you imagine. But then when you come and you hear them embodied by other people who are reading those words that you're maybe very familiar with, it becomes like a whole other experience.
Exactly.
We have another question here from Diane. She wants to know, when were you a chef?
In the early 1980s, I had a business Main Street called Mainly Pasta. And it was all Italian food, takeout, and fresh pasta. And there's never been another place like it since. So I was there 16 and a half years.
Was that 6 months, the half a year, exactly?
16 and a half. Yeah. 16 to 6 months.
That's a long time to be making pasta.
Does that place still exist or no?
This doesn't exist anymore.
Any
I'm
questions?
craving pasta now.
What's that?
Craving pasta now.
Yeah. Any other questions from out here? Yeah, Colin?
What made you decide to, I guess, go public with the poems now after so long? Like, is it in an effort to find who the writer is?
Colin wanted to know, what was it that motivated you to publish the poems now after so many years? Was it because you were hoping that maybe the poet would reveal themselves to you, or what was it that made you want to publish the poems?
No, it's just I went up to my desk one day recently and pulled the file out and pulled the poems out and started reading them. And that's how it started again. They had been in the files for quite a while, but all of a sudden, you know how things happen. You never know. It was time. It was time for it to happen.
Interesting. Let's see. I got one here. Where can I buy the Windshield Poems book?
Well, you'll be able to buy it at the Firehouse.
All right, there you go. So that's another reason to come in to one of the performances live. Is there anywhere else that they can get it?
Only for me personally.
Okay. So I guess the other answer is, if you're not able to make it to Firehouse for one of the performances, just go ahead and email info@firehousetheater.org, and we will find a way to put you in touch with Harvey and get you a book.
Or they can come here and pick it up.
Or they can come here and pick it up, yes.
Right.
Let's see. Susan wants to know, as an artist, designer, and printmaker yourself, Are you working on anything else now?
I'm working on a series of prints right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am. I'm going to have a show as soon as this virus calms down.
Well, you're a wise old man. When do you think that's going to be?
I hope in the spring.
All right. You heard it here first.
Fingers crossed, everyone.
Any other questions from out here? Yeah, Emily?
Did you ever emphasize, like, or empathize with the anonymous poet? Did you ever, like, relate to them or feel like you needed to seek them out to, like, I don't know, make them feel better about their life at that time?
Emily wants to know if you ever wanted to seek out the anonymous poet to make them feel like they were being heard and, that you sort of could tell them how much the poems meant to you.
I didn't know how to go about that, how to seek this person out. I would have really liked to have known who the person was, because I think he was fantasizing about loving me, because how could he love me? He didn't really know me. I didn't know how to go about it. I just didn't know how to find out who this person was. I was hoping there'd be some little clue that I could follow, but that never happened. The only thing I know that I think he was from Hanover County, because he mentioned that in one of the poems, but I have no idea.
Got another one here from John. Have you ever written poetry or a play before, Harvey?
I have written poetry. I write poetry, yeah.
Yeah.
I just wrote one recently.
Is that something you're going to share with the world anytime soon?
Huh?
Is it something you're going to share with the world anytime soon?
The poem?
Yeah.
No. It's the poem has to do with the coronavirus, actually.
It seems very fitting.
It's about putting you in the petri dish and turning and stirring you around. But I can't, recite the poem because I can't remember it.
That's okay. But that's really cool, though.
So that's all the questions that have come in. I think that we can wrap it up. I just want to mention again and then turn it over to Austin, and he can reinforce this. But if you're interested in either attending the live performances here at Firehouse or signing up to join us via live stream, you can do so at our website, firehousetheater.org.
And the actual dates are November 11th through 15th. Joel said earlier there are 7 performances, and 2 of them are going to be live streamed. Yeah, so any more information is on the website. Just click the Windshield Poems.
You have any final words, Harvey?
I just hope people come to the theater to see it.
I just hope people come to the theater.
Period.
To see this. And oh yeah, I should probably do a commercial for some other things that are coming up while I've got the mic. We have an open rehearsal of Kay Jenkins's new play, A Single Prayer, on Sunday at 4 o'clock. The show was about ready to open in mid-March, and then the pandemic hit, so we had to cancel it. And then Kay and the team of artists working on it did some further work on it with the plan that we were going to do it this fall, but wasn't possible. So right now our plans are to do it in the spring of 2022. I know that seems really far away, but it's just a year and a few months from now. And so Mark Lehrman, the director, and all the actors, who I won't list now, have been rehearsing here at Firehouse, working on the material and character development, stuff like that. And we thought it would be fun to have an open rehearsal so people can sort of see that process and get a little bit of a teaser about what the play is. So on Sunday, here at 4 o'clock, we're going to have Madison Hatfield and Adam Turk and Mark Lehrman be rehearsing one of the scenes from the show. And we'll do it sort of like in this format where the director will set up what he's going to have the actors do. The actors will do it. Mark will give them some notes. They'll do it again. They'll have a conversation. And then we'll open up to questions and answers from the streaming audience and the live audience. So to sign up for that, you can email info@firehousetheater.org if you want to be in the live audience. If you want to stream it, it's going to be on Facebook Live. So tune in to the Firehouse Facebook page on this coming Sunday at 4 o'clock, where we'll be streaming it. Then the other thing that's coming up is like November 20th, 21st, and 22nd, we've got the Appomattox Regional Governor's School Dance Company performing, and I'm not clear on whether the company's name or the piece that they're performing or both are called Sail Dance. And once again, we're going to be doing that live for a very limited audience here at Firehouse, and we're also going to be streaming a couple of performances. So you can find out about Sail Dance at firehousetheater.org as well. So I think that's all the commercial announcements I have to make. So Austin, Harvey, any last words? I turn it over back to you.
I don't have any more further. Well, actually, no, I do have one more question. So the first 17 poems were written between like 74 and 76, right?
Correct.
And then you received one more poem in 1990,
Right.
almost 14 years later. How, what was your reaction to that, to getting that poem after all those years?